Holy shit! That was the only words that it honestly could make out at what was presented towards me. Less than 10 feet away from me were the bodies of Zuma, Rocky, and Marshall, or at least what was left of them. Zuma's head was hanging on one of the tree branches. It had been ripped straight from his body, his spinal cord holding and dangling the pup's head firmly on the branch. Zuma's face was mangled and disfigured, and one of his eyes had been stabbed by a sharp rock, blood and eye juice still pouring from the mutilated eye socket. His lower jaw had been yanked and stretched to the point that it was completely dislodged from his skull, only being connected by a small slab of skin that hadn't been torn in the stretching process. His body laid in a bloody heap below his severed head, untouched and still intact. Rocky had been beaten numerous times with what I assumed to be a very large rock, his head being the main target of the brutal assault. Rocky's skull had been completely split in half from the blunt trauma, with chunks of brain seeping out of the cracked skull. The rest of the body was covered in teeth marks, with chunks of skin and muscle tissue removed, revealing the bone. Marshall had been completely ripped in half, with intestines, kidneys, and liver exposed, dangling out from the bottom half of his torso. I immediately vomited at the sight of this. My partner immediately called up for backup on her radio, and as I ran towards the pups to check for any signs of life. Obviously, for Zuma and Rocky, they were both long dead at this point. However, Marshall was a different story altogether. I had made my way towards him, and I went to check his pulse. To my shock and surprise, he still had one. He was also panting very heavily. I remember hearing him moan and whimper in pain as he locked eyes with me. I could have started bawling right then and there when I saw him. He was still conscious, and then he whispered to me,
Find my legs, please.
I didn't want to leave his side, so I called for my partner to go and search for his legs, which she found dumped next to a bush. It didn't take long for an ambulance to get where we were. Zuma and Rocky were obviously pronounced dead on the spot, while Marshall was rushed to the ER for emergency treatment. However, due to complications and blood loss, he passed away during surgery about 2 hours later. In the room, there was a large tar-like beast. It was around 7 feet tall with a twisted and mangled body. Its hands were long, blood-stained claws that warped and contorted with each passing move. The face, however, was the worst part. It had no features on it whatsoever, with the sole exception of a large, gaping maw with row after row of razor-bloodied, sharp teeth. Next to the thing were the remains of Ryder, Sky, and Rubble.
Woof, woof! Net!
A small sound erupted from the bushes in front of me, and then a large net sprang out and captured 4 of the robed men. Mayor Goodway immediately looked behind her to see what the hell was going on, and I quickly took this time to act. With all the strength I could muster, I ripped the loose branch from the tree that held my hand in place, and with it, I punched Mayor Goodway straight in the face as hard as I could. She fell to the floor, but before she did, I immediately grabbed the dagger out of her hand and cut myself free. I immediately charged at the hooded freaks and started stabbing them repeatedly, until I wound up finding my gun laying next to the altar. As I grabbed my gun, I saw Chase moving slowly into the area with a flamethrower spewing out of his paw pack, burning at least 6 of the cult members to nothing but ashes and bones. Taking my gun, I fired round after round in each of the remaining members' stomachs, including the ones that were in my net. After finally finishing them off, as I was contemplating how I should thank Chase, I immediately heard a loud yelp blasting through my eardrums. I turned around and saw Mayor Goodway slipping a dagger into Chase's side. I pulled out my gun and shot a bullet between her eyes. Blood and bits of brain matter splattered the tree behind her before she fell to the ground with a thud. I continued walking for about 5 minutes when I heard a wet squishing sound emanate from my foot hitting something. I shined my light at what I had stepped on, and I saw the mutilated head of a police officer. I jumped back in fright as my flashlight dropped to the ground. The light immediately flickered to its brightest setting. and I saw one of the worst sights that I had ever seen since I had found the bodies of Zuma, Rocky, and Marshall. There were bodies, about 25 in total, all hanging from the ceiling of the cave by their necks by what appeared to be barbed wire. Their bodies were all the police officers from the ABPD. They looked just like they had been They looked like they had just been killed, as I noticed an absence of decay from the hanging corpses. They all, with the exception of one body, looked like they had been drained of their blood. Their skin bore a pale, empty, and pure white hue, with a hint of blue in their faces, fresh blood still dribbling down their necks from contact with the barbed wire. I could smell the overbearing scent of iron as I continued to walk. I wasn't sure what was going to happen to me, but I braced myself for whatever the hell was awaiting me. The ropes around my wrists started coming loose as I quickly got out of them. Tracker noticed me and started running towards my gear on the table, but all I needed was my gun. I reached for my gun and Tracker jumped as he bit down on my arm. I grunted as I grabbed his neck and threw him against the wall. Tracker fell to the ground along with the wine. He got up, limping towards Goodway. I cocked my pistol and aimed it right at Tracker's head. As my bullet went through Tracker's head, causing him to fall to the ground with blood squirting from his head. His hind legs twitched as he laid there in a puddle of his own blood. "What should I do now, Goodway?" Everest asked while looking up to Leon. Leon slowly looked down at Everest.
"Oh, Everest. I really appreciate all the help, but I'm afraid you're not needed anymore."
What? Everest replied with a shocked look. Before Everest could say anything else, Leon took one of its arms, quickly grabbing Everest's neck, pinning her against the wall, choking her as two more arms came out with sharp claws, jamming both claws into Everest's stomach. Everest screamed and gasped as both of Leon's claws dug deeper into her ribcage. Everest at this point was pretty much vomiting blood as the claws split her ribcage completely open, as blood and organs gushed and spilled onto the ground. Everest died instantly. Leon pulled his claws out, causing Everest to fall lifeless on the ground, with her face in a shocked and horrified expression. I looked up at Leon. He started shaking as he cried out an ear-piercing scream. I laughed a little bit. I immediately went up to the crucifix and smeared it all over the circle, destroying the pentagram and the candles over it. Leon's scream got louder, as I felt the whole cave was shaking as rocks began falling. I quickly got up and ran over to Chase, picking him up and holding him tight. I turned around to see Leon getting bigger, as if he was inflating. Leon gave out one final scream before exploding, causing chunks of gore and blood to spread all over the cave, as the whole cave started caving in from the inside, crushing what was left of Leon/Goodway. I turned back around as I ran faster out of the cave. I ran out with Chase, just as the cave caved in with the rocks tumbling down, blocking the tunnel of the cave completely. While holding Chase in my arms, I gently set him down. Chase coughed up blood as I continued to press on the wound, trying to make the bleeding stop. "It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be alright," I said, trying to hold back my tears. I don't think I'm gonna make it this time, Mike," whimpered Chase. He was shaking. I could feel my throat lock up as tears started pouring down my face. "Damn it, no!" I cried. "Don't you dare say that!" I grabbed Chase, holding him tight in my arms, still trying to stop the bleeding. Chase started to cry. "Mike, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault," Chase said while coughing. "No, Chase," I cried. "This is my fault. If I just didn't pick up that damn phone. If I wouldn't have forced her to come with me, none of this would have happened. We should have just left that shithole of a town where we were. Well, we had the chance. Chase lifted his shaking paw to my face, calming me down. Chase whispered, "It's okay, Mike." I started to cry more. "I'm gonna be with my friends again in heaven. I can see them, too. I can see a light. It's so pretty. Thank you for everything, Mike." Chase took his last breath. "I love you, Mike." Chase's eyes slowly closed, with his head resting against my chest. Chase? Chase? I cried. I knew he was gone. As the rain continued to pour down on me and Chase's lifeless body, I walked to my apartment, hearing nothing but the rain hitting against my window. I walked to my room, hoping and praying to see Chase barking and jumping up on me, licking my face repeatedly. But all I could see was a cold, dark, empty room. I took my uniform off and laid it on my bed, and strapping my belt from my pants, I sat on my bed, staring at it for 30 minutes. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath and sighed as I got up and walked to my kitchen, pulling a chair into the main living room where my ceiling fan hung. At this point, nothing could stop me from what I was about to do. I wrapped the belt around the ceiling fan, giving it a quick pull to make sure it was sturdy, and then wrapped the belt around my neck, making sure it was tight. I closed my eyes for the last time. I'll soon wake up from this nightmare. I'll be together forever with my friends and family for eternity. I slowly started to lift my right leg in front of me, smiling, knowing that I would be at peace soon, and I was going to be with Chase and all the other pups again. As I slowly lost my balance, I started to lean my body forward.
There were 45 kills in the Paw Patrol The Final Mission. The victims included 15 men, 6 women, and 24 unknowns, giving us a pup pie chart. With a runtime of nearly 110 minutes, that gives us a kill on average every 2.29 minutes.